I know. BGS has a stream going on right now. Oh, actually, what am I doing? Where's my manners? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Okay, now we could get into that. I know BGS has a stream going on right now. Speaking about economics and whatnot. So we're gonna try not to be here too long. I don't want to step on too many toes. Okay, so um, dangerous to whom? So this is kind of a mashup of everything. First, I really wanted to title this Mr. Z is late, but Themis is still wrong. I just checked out Themis speaking to FD Signifier. So let's get into that video in particular first. Right? So let's get into it. FD went on to Themis video. He popped in. Themis was trying to chastise FD for not pushing back on the Black Manosphere enough, not pushing back on Bernard Riley enough. And I wanted to get into this, right? First, Themis' theme was that obviously the Black Manosphere is dangerous. We don't do enough systemic critique. I want FD to remember this. Notice when Themis wants to speak about responsibility and accountability and when he doesn't want to speak about systemic issues, it's when it's time to blame Black men. Remember that, brother. All the systemic talk until it's time to talk about Black men, then he want to talk about individual responsibility and accountability. Remember that, okay? Sounded real right racist, right? Sounded real right conservative right there. You want to chastise Bernard Riley, but you sounded like a white conservative over there, sir, Mr. Themis, right? Okay, that's number one. When we say the Black Manosphere doesn't do systemic critique, are you serious? When we say that the Black Manosphere doesn't talk about white supremacy, which part of the Black Manosphere? Are you serious? Dr. T, Green Gorilla, Mr. Z, BGS, Art New Style, which part of the Black Manosphere are you talking about? The Black Manosphere doesn't critique white supremacy. We don't talk about the system. We don't blame the system. No, I don't know which part of the Black Manosphere you're talking about, but over here on this side, right? But once again, Themis and the brother's sexuality is questionable, whatever. But he just comes off as Black woman's gay Black friend, right? Black gay friend, right? And he does pretty much what they all do and just regurgitate the same exact talking points and rhetoric as the angry, bitter Black women. This is why FD got to be the one to talk. It can't be Themis. How many brothers are gonna really listen to Themis? Because Themis is just Black women's gay Black friend that regurgitates all the same talking points as the Black women, right? Maybe Themis ain't get his wake up call yet, like what's to say, Funky Deneva did, right? Maybe that's the issue. So Themis is chastising FD once again. Themis says the divestors are not as dangerous. First of all, let's address this because this is Mr. Z's bag. We're in Mr. Z's bag now. Themis, you're such a disingenuous liar. Let's get into it. You speak about the divestors like the divestors are just speaking about Black femicide. No, the divestors are speaking about getting the bad culture from men, all that level up talk, aborting Black male babies. You talk about you talk to Cynthia G and try to push back, but that's on the absolute extreme. All the other women that are a little bit closer, not as insane, you don't got nothing to say to them, right? You don't have anything to say to them. These women are trying to marry and date non-Black dudes for a lifestyle. Themis. Did Mr. Z have to be so blatant in saying that? You didn't see that? Oh no, you did see that. You don't got nothing to say about that part though, right? Okay. They're throwing white guys in Black men's faces for the lifestyle, not because they feel threatened by Black men, not because they think Black men are that dangerous. No, for the lifestyle. We want white guys for that. That's what the whole divestment thing is about. It's not even about non-black men as much as it is about being validated by white men. And you say this is train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. And on that note, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. You say what? So divestment is not as dangerous as the black manosphere. Dangerous to whom exactly? Black women that just want black men to bow down. We need to stop talking about women like they don't want power too. It's always this type of conversation, right? That women don't want power also. Men seek power, women just want companionship. Get out of here. Just because they don't say it in the exact same way as the men. Like I said, if all women have to do is couch their critique and their insults and their belittling and chastising of men and a feminist bent, then if that's all it has to be, just a feminist angle, and we give them a pass on that, you could talk all the crap you want about men, just make it seem like you just want female empowerment. Yeah, power. That part. Right? And FD, if you remember correctly, when you came on my channel, this is why I told you this is why queer people should not be talking on heterosexual people's relationship. FD signifier, you are married, you have 2 children. Themis don't know nothing about what you talking about because he just comes off as black women's gay black friend. He don't know the difference between what black women are like when you put some D to them. Women are like when you put some D to them, let alone black women. He don't know what that is. And if he does, he's being real disingenuous. He wants to see the betterment of the black community, but he has nothing. And first of all, the systemic critique is BS. Go through Themis's channel. Mr. Z talks systemic. Look at my community tab. Look at some of my videos. Where's Themis videos like that? Oops. He want to see the betterment of the black community. He want to talk about systemic issues. Where do we see, where is the evidence of that? No, he's just regurgitating the same thing the black feminists say, and the black angry women say, and the divestors say, and the black women in luxury say. That's what he's on. Like I said, he's black women's gay black friend. And that's okay, but stop pretending like you want to see the betterment of black women. No, your brother that might have been bullied for some of your mannerisms and and the way you present. And so now you're using black women and black feminists and this divestment movement to get at black men. We know who you are, brother. I'm from I'm Caribbean descent too. We know who you are, Themis. Jamaican, maybe part of the Rainbow Flag Committee, bro. We know. I grew up with you, Themis. Not with Themis literally, but I grew up with the Themises of the world. Caribbean gay dude, I know who you are, bro. We know who you are, bro. We know who you are. We know why you do what you do. Stop saying it's for the betterment of the black community, right? Stop it. We know who you are. It'd be crazy when people just insult your intelligence. They look you dead in the face and say, yeah, I'm not that person. Yes, you are. We know who you are, bro. We know who you are. We grew up with you. We know who you are, Themis. And you're Jamaican too? We know who you are. The way you speak, the way you present, the way your mannerisms, we know who you are, and we know what your real issue is. You don't want to see the betterment of the black community. You want to get at straight black men. Maybe in more ways than one. Right? And so you get to couch your little petty stuff as critiquing the black community. You're not, excuse me, critiquing black men for the black community. Right? And so they get into the whole, FD and Themis get into the whole stereotypical black men blaming black women for being single moms, um, while these women are upholding the black community. Yo, we're gonna stop ignoring all the working class and regular and everyday black men that are holding up the black community. By the way, this is why your sons are dropping out of society. Your working class, everyday, regular, smegular, 9 to 5 sons, this is why they're dropping out of society. They're not a danger to women as much as they're just saying, no, yeah, I'm just gonna stay home and play video games and masturbate and live as minimalist of a life as humanly possible. If I will be regulated to just $35,000 a year, then I will live a $25,000 a year life if I can. A $30,000 a year life if I can. Right? Y'all don't have no incentives for those men over there, Themis. And the men know that whole 50-50 egalitarian crap, women don't really mean it. And Themis, if you were in a heterosexual relationship with a woman, you would know they don't mean it either. You know, FD know they don't mean it, even though at one point, from my understanding, what FD said is at one point his wife was earning more than him. But he know that's not how it really go. You think FD don't know about that divorce rate? The second a man loses his job, tick tock, tick tock. Themis, do you know? Oh, I forgot. That's systemic. But the man's response to the wife leaving him, oh, that's individual. Whoopsie. All these supposed educated people, intelligent people, intellectuals, once we start talking about man-woman stuff, everybody's brain go to mush. Everybody's brain go to mush. And then we got the queer folks, Khadijah, Themis, all these different queer folks chiming in. Like the men are the only ones with the double standards. The women are yelling the double standards off mountaintops, and y'all putting your fingers in your ears, la 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 la. I don't see anything here, nothing to see here. Maybe if we could get the men to be egalitarian, then the women will change. They're not going to change. And we don't got to go all the way to the extremes of divestors to hear it either. The women are not letting go because they don't actually want the responsibility. That's the part y'all keep on ignoring. They resent having the response. That's what much of their reason for the single mom thing. They resent having the responsibility. I want to talk 50-50 until ish hits the fan. Then why didn't you do this, Negro? And that's not the word I want to use. Right? Themis is being very either he don't know, which is possible because, you know, possibly his sexuality, or he do know and he's pretending like he don't. Either way, FD, the man was chastising you because you didn't challenge black men. He wanted you to come into the black manosphere on some you Negroes ain't ish. Just bow down and listen to what the women are saying because they're right. Because Themis, you know, we have to have a serious conversation about what boss hog, super strong, super willed women do to boys and men in the black community. We have to have because when you look at Themis, what do you see exactly? Right? We have to have a real conversation about how boys are socialized in the black community to supposedly not, air quotes, not be a threat to black women. To be air quotes, sympathetic to black women. Air quotes, empathetic to black women and their issues and their plights. We have to have a real conversation about how black men oftentimes speak and act and comport themselves to signal to black women that they're not a threat. Right? It reminds me of the mom that raises her son to be the man that she was not attracted to in high school and to be this sweet boy, pun intended, maybe kind of sort of. And then he goes to high school, he goes to middle school, ignored it. He goes to high school and gets made fun of, and the women ain't checking. Oops. Right? Themis also goes on to speak about how, and which is interesting, this is the one time I think y'all would agree with FD. Themis goes on to speak about the passport bros, like the black passport bros are way too loud and the white passport bros are not this loud. And FD was like, I even heard about passport bros from white dudes. That's where I first heard of it. What are you talking about? And he could, it's once again, when you engage with black men like Themis, with men like Themis, you just couch it just in your mind. Okay, it's just black women. It's like you're just talking to a black woman. You're just talking to a black woman, right? And to the point where this man is speaking and he's saying them about black men as if he slipped up a couple of times and caught himself. Did y'all hear what I just said? The man is disassociating himself from other black men so much he says them when referring to black men like he's not a black man, regardless of his sexuality. Right? Regardless of his sexuality. Once again, this is why FD, I told you, queer folks talking about relationships, sticking their nose in heterosexual relationship business when they don't actually fully appreciate the dynamics of man-woman relationship before we even start talking about race. They have all these great ideals that actually don't mean crap when you put them in the real world. All these theories, they sound nice. All that egalitarian talk sound nice until the Titanic starts to sink. All that egalitarian talk sound nice until it's time to pay these bills. And women start implying, suggesting, and sometimes just outright saying, "Yeah, I shouldn't be paying none of this, or I should be paying the absolute bare minimum. Give me one bill. Give me the cable bill. I'll take that." FD, you yourself said you were raised by some of these women. Themis ain't trying to hear that. He's pretending like that doesn't exist. It's the men. And this is the beauty of being LGBTQ and not having to worry about how your theory actually works out and plays out in real life. The practical application of your theory. How does it really look? This is the beauty of saying all that, and you don't gotta, and like Khadijah said, she don't gotta worry about that. Exactly. Themis could get all of these women hot and bothered about black men not showing up in this way and passport bros negative that way and all this other stuff, because he don't have to deal with the consequences of his rhetoric. He don't got to deal with that because he doesn't interact with women on that level. Unless Themis is one of the most feminine presenting heterosexual men ever. Right? So that sounds nice. Now let's speak about this other young lady. What is her name? Y'all give me a second. Let me get this young lady's name again. Give me 1 second. Amanda Mary Ann. I've checked out some of her videos before. I forgot. Little cute petite sister. You know. Okay, this goes back to something Fab Socialism said a little while ago of why are all these radical black women with non-black men, particularly white men? She didn't say non-black men. She said white men. Now, Amanda Mary Ann does video essays, etc., etc. She did one on Mindy Kaling that I thought was very interesting in her white male worship. Let me get straight to it. Women of color, just because you critique white men doesn't mean that you don't worship at white men's penis. God damn, Mr. Z, why you sound so vulgar? The young lady didn't sound that vulgar. She wasn't being that vulgar, but I gotta say it vulgar. I gotta put some spice in it with the rhetoric. I'm sorry, right? This is what Mindy Kaling does, right? And Amanda, this is what you do too, young lady, right? So, what is Mr. Z speaking about here? Amanda puts out a video, um, speaking about the women wrote this, the men that women write, or the men that essentially the men that women approve of. The if you give a woman a pen and tell her write her ideal male character, that type of man, right? The female gaze, gaze as a G, as in Gaze, not Gays. But yeah, the woman gaze, the feminine gaze, and which is funny because Amanda couches that as the bare minimum man, right? The men that women write, the fictional, oftentimes delusional men that women write are just the bare minimum men, right? Okay, cool. That sounds nice. If you want to know why so many of your sons in their 20s are at home jacking off and playing video games, it's because these are the women that are waiting for them outside. So yeah, especially your Gen Zs. So, um, Amanda goes on to speak about Harry Styles, and what's his name, Bo Bynum, or something like that, as the kind of ideal men of of this, right? Once again, both white men, and she actually critiques this and say, yes, these are, kind of rich, connected white men, or straight white men, blah blah blah. And this makes it much easier for them to be these type of people. I am so. This is okay. So we're gonna. This is super personal here. Mr. Z is so tired of these women of color thinking that just because they say one or two critical things of straight white men, that doesn't mean that they don't hope that they get involved with these same exact men, right? It's so corny and lame and tired. I want to overthrow white supremacist hegemonic patriarchy, except for the one guy that I end up with. These white men think they're so entitled, but I want one of them. That's in the subtext. That's the part they don't say, right? I can't stand these entitled white dudes except for the one that I hopefully end up with. Oh, and him being, air quotes, a good man is the bare minimum. Him being tall and rich, with the nice hair and the chiseled chin and the, quick, witty, kind of liberal humor, that's the bare minimum. Yawn. Women, y'all know y'all could be talking out the both sides of your mouth too, right? You know that's not just a man thing, right? You know that's not exclusive to men, right? It's very interesting, Miss Amanda, that it was the white guys that you saw as the ideal of this thing. Not a single man of color inside. You, if I remember correctly, not a single man, not even just a black man. Screw that. Not even, you didn't have one man of color as an example of this. But hey, man, I'm just saying. Dear ladies, dear women of color, that includes black women because I'm black. y'all know y'all looking real. Y'all know one of Mr. Z's favorite quotes. The internet will expose us. No, is that we're gonna expose ourselves on the internet. Y'all know y'all looking like real hypocritical out here just because you say, yeah, um, white male patriarchy and white male hegemony. Da, 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 da. Yeah, but these are the men that you secretly want, and more sociologists are saying it. Shout out to Jennifer Lundquist and Dr. Chantel Bugs. It's getting real dark out there, ladies. Right? And so thanks for the super chat, Mr. G's World. And he said, hi, Nick, you cooking. Thank you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right? And Big Kev, what's going on, Big Kev? He says, that's why I don't F with um Madison Brown that much. Yeah, bro, these, their critique, their video essay, these are like, we're talking about like the kind of like bread tube-ish, like liberal video essayists, critiquers, social commentators all over social media, but particularly on YouTube and TikTok, right? Instagram, like more video, they give these like little 1-2, well, on TikTok it's gonna be short, right? On Instagram it's gonna be short also, tend to be, but on YouTube they give these 20-minute long, 30-minute long, maybe about hour long kind of critiques of culture and society and politics, and at the end of the day they do a little 1-2 punch to white men, but then when you really listen to them you're like, but you secretly want that dude though. Like Miss Amanda critiques Mindy Kaling for the white worship, but then she talks about the characters or the men that fit this kind of aesthetic, this ideal of the men that women write, and it's white dudes again. It's like, bruh, what do y'all think y'all beyond the white worship? This is when and I could say the name on this because it's super small, this group of people, but this is where the race cells come in, right? This is what they're speaking about. Like it all ends and begin with the white phallus and women of color worshiping it. And I know I'm sounding a little, right. I know what I'm sounding like right now, and I'm saying it like that for a reason. Miss Amanda didn't say anything. Obviously, she'll know who I am. She didn't say anything to me. She didn't, But we gotta call a thing a thing. It's looking a little white worshipy over here, right? It's looking a little white worshipy, right? Mr. Me Too, exactly. So, Mr. Me Too, shout out to Mr. Me Too. Thank you for the super chat. Mr. Me Too said, "Didn't that somewhat of a guy try?" you ain't shit. My bad, Mr. Me Too. Right? But people can't parallel park, y'all. People can't parallel park. A shout out to all you brothers in the Northeast, in the different parts of the country that y'all have to parallel park as a way of life. Y'all don't come to the South. You're gonna be just extra super, just frustrated watching people parallel park. It's bad. And Mr. Z is not saying I'm the king of this, but Jesus Christ, don't come to South Florida. Once Negroes got a parallel park, they just lose it. They can't. Yeah. Anyway, addressing, yes, that's the same Themis. Yes, that same Themis. Yes, Mr. Me Too. And look at how he was speaking to Dr. T, right? And so I'm gonna switch back to the Amanda thing in a minute. Look at how he's speaking to Mr. T, right? And he's speaking. I said Mr. T. I'm so sorry, Dr. T. Hazan Johnson. I'm used to saying Dr. Johnson, so let me just continue to say it like that. Look how he's speaking to Dr. Johnson, right? And so when he says to FD signifier, you weren't really pushing back, you weren't really right, and FD was like, FD was pretty conciliatory to, like, and it's crazy because FD wasn't that conciliatory on my channel or Bernard Riley, right? But essentially FD was like, yeah, that's not me. That's just not me, right? And what Themis wanted him to do is come in here and offer some air quotes pushback. Translation: go in there and tell them Negroes they ain't issuing the women a right, and they sound like sexist, misogynist, homophobic, transphobic pigs. and they just need to get down with the black women's program, right? He Themis wanted FD to come in here sounding like Tiffany Cross. Get in line with behind black women, right? So yeah, that same Themis. So it's straight foolishness. Now let's go over something too. And I'm sorry, Kim from Fort Harry, I even do nothing, but I gotta drag her into this too. Themis reviews a video, and this is some years old actually. And I wanted to speak about this a while ago, but seeing that we're speaking about Themis now, Themis reviews a video of Kim from Fort Harriet speaking about, and goddamn, so BGS was right again. Um, speaking about Kim from Fort Harriet and her pretty much, and we knew it, but BGS hit it on the nose. Um, Speaking about the first guy to ask her out, or the person she went to prom with, or something like that, was a white dude because the black guys. Essentially, it was Kim from Fort Harriet saying even the nerdy black guys ain't checking for the nerdy black women, right? So that leaves the nerdy black women, the smart, intelligent black women, to be with white dudes, and then the black community, particularly black men, then turn around and say, "But y'all wanted to be with the jocks and the D boys and the swaggerlicious dudes in high school," and she's like, "No, it's that the black guys on this particular level, they were not checking for me, so I ended up having to go to prom with a white dude, right?" And that sounds so convenient now, doesn't it? That sounds so, bruh. If ladies, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. All of this, I didn't have a choice, right? I didn't have a choice. So boys and men got all the choices. And like I told y'all, half of the reasons why these women, let me bring it back, because I gotta hit y'all, Mr. Z gotta hit y'all with the "I told y'all so." And it's not like y'all really disagree with me, so I'm just saying it just to say it, right? Like I told y'all, half of the times these women be in their 30s, 20s, 30s, still talking about who didn't want them when they were 16. I just gotta remind y'all that Mr. Z keep on telling y'all that over and over again, and then these women expose themselves later on to prove me right. I'm just saying. Continuing. Ladies, you can't have it both ways. The boys and the men have all the agency and you have none. Isn't this exactly what Mindy Kaling says? The men of your, so let me get this right. Let me understand what women of color are saying. Boys of color in high school are not checking for you. Men of color in college are not checking for you. But all of y'all magically end up chasing after white dudes. Or, excuse me, I'm sorry, not chasing after. Y'all all end up with white dudes. At least once. So men of your own race don't appreciate your beauty, but somehow magically white men do. The descendants of the same white men that created this and perpetuate this. How perplexing. Wait a minute. Black men don't appreciate black women's beauty. South Asian men don't appreciate South Asian women's beauty unless they're a particular archetype. Everybody doing this colorism thing in the women of color community, right? East Asian men don't appreciate East Asian women when they have really East Asian features, right? What, like I said, black men. We continue over and over with this, right? The colorism, the texturism, the featureism, cool. But somehow magically, all of these people come to the same conclusion, which is black men don't appreciate black women, South Asian men don't appreciate South Asian women, East Asian men don't appreciate East Asian women, et cetera, et cetera. Latino men don't appreciate Latina women that are not like borderline white or damn near white or white, right? And somehow magically, all of y'all, the ideal man just happens to be the white man. But men of color are the ones who suffer from colorism and featureism and texturism. And they're the ones who are seeking their validation in between the legs of white women. Interesting. And Big Kev says, thank you for the super chat, Big Kev. Big Kev says, they mad they ain't the first choice. They ain't white women. Bro, it would seem so, right? It would seem so. This it's we're I said this before. We're gonna have to have a real conversation as people of color, but particularly because I'm black, I'm focusing on black people, on how colorism shows up in women of color, particularly black women. How does anti-blackness show up in black women? And I'm not talking about the air quotes internalized. No, stop it. How do black women recreate colorism, futurism, texturism? How do they recreate white supremacy? How do they recreate white supremacist notions of manhood, masculinity, being a baller, being rich, being a provider, being a protector? How do they speak about these things? Because it seems, and this is where Themis was going, it seems as though just because black women and other women of color don't say exactly what men of color are saying, how they say it, all of a sudden it's different, right? Divestment isn't that divestment movement isn't dangerous, or it isn't as dangerous. Black women talking crazy about black men in these different type of ways isn't dangerous, or it isn't as dangerous, right? It's not the same. And that's what like I said, so you have Miss Amanda critiquing Mindy Kaling while she low key kind of engaging in the same type of thing, right? Somehow, some way, right? All these women of color tell you how the men of their race and their demographic didn't appreciate their beauty and their whatever. Kim from For Harriet saying it, Mindy Kaling saying it, right? Oh, Stefco has said it, and somehow the answer is always white men. I'm just saying. The answer is always white men, though. That's the way you fix all of this. Then you got Themis chastising FD Signifier for not being more critical of black men in the black manosphere when he's engaging with different people in the black manosphere, and saying that we don't critique the system enough and we put all the onus on black women. Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, anyone? BGS, anyone? Art New Style, anyone? Mr. Z, anyone? To name a few. All of this happening at the same time. Y'all got to pick a struggle. Rest in peace, Kevin. Y'all got to pick a struggle. And like I keep on bringing up the social math for y'all. Y'all gonna have to figure out a way to incentivize the men, and it ain't looking good. Let's be very clear. Most of your young men are not going to go out and harm women. They're just gonna stay away from them. The one, like I said, the ones that can afford it will be passport bros. The ones that can't afford it will be SYSBM, and many of those men will choose non-black women. Right? And FD knows what that looks like because FD has two sons, and he can imagine as if his wife is Indian, if he is any indicator of his wife's intelligence, I bet you Miss FD is very smart, very educated, but you know she couldn't raise them boys by herself. This is why men are out of the way in the black community because they got women like Kim from Fort Harriet on one end, and they got men like Themis on the other end, just badgering them about who they not and what they need to be and all this other stuff. And it sound nice, but let's see where Gen Z men go. right? And Kevin Miller, thank you for the super chat. Kevin Miller says an excuse to openly go after Brad. It is. It is. It is. And just because women couch it differently, all of a sudden the society pretends like they believe them, right? The boys and let me get this right. You and your sister go to a predominantly white school, but somehow you're supposed to be the one chasing after the white girls because you have an inferiority complex, right? But your sister, who also ends up with a white guy, is because the black boys were not checking. Wait a minute. We both got the same results. Oh, I forgot. You don't have any agency or any autonomy, so you're just sitting there and the guys ain't checking for you. So, oh wait, sorry. The boys of your own race in high school aren't checking for you, but the random white guys are. hmm The black boys think your nose is too wide, but the white boys don't. The black boys think your hair is too kinky, but the boys don't. The black boys think you're too frumpy, but the white boys don't. What? Which makes no sense to black men and black boys because we're the ones who play football with them. We're the ones who go drinking with them. We're the ones who chill with them. And somehow they're the ones who appreciate your beauty, even though they flame the exact same white woman that looks like you and the white girls that look like you. Huh. So women of color are saying to the world that white men appreciate their features more than the men of their own group. Right? And KW Don says, why do the black women that complain about colorism also promote swirling, divesting to create more offspring that will benefit from same colorism? So for them, it's about raising those girls and those women to despise black men, right? So yeah, I could be Mariah Carey's mother, or Halle Berry's mother, or Alicia Keys' mother, right? Or Tracy Ellis Ross' mother, but I'm going to raise them to stay the hell away from black boys and black men. And if you let some of these divestors talk, I'm even going to raise them to stay away from mixed black boys who are the products of black fathers, white mothers, right? Yeah, that's how far it only goes far. It goes far. To hear these women always speak about how black boys didn't appreciate their beauty, black men didn't appreciate their beauty, but random white guys do. The first person to ever tell them they're attractive is a white guy. The first person to compliment them about their features is a white guy, whether in high school or in college. Meanwhile, those same people critique white supremacy and say we live in a white supremacist nation. Bro, make it make sense. We're going to have a real conversation about when women are speaking like they want to be the madam to Mr. Power, how do they actually go about being that? Because if we're expecting women to say it exactly how men say it, then you're being a coward. You're not actually wanting to hear what they're really saying, what they really mean with what they say. Because what it's coming off like is that because we live in this neoliberal society, women of color said, "Yeah, we ain't fighting nothing. We just trying to be down with the whoever is running it, and it's white men, and that's what we should be." We'll critique it really because they won't let us be essentially curry dipped white women, chocolate dipped white women, right? Sake dipped white women. I'm coming up with all the stereotypes, you guys. Right? Taco sauce dipped white women. Our real critique is that these white guys won't treat us how they treat white women in larger society. And the individual ones of us that end up with the white guy, we should uphold him. Look, she won. She got her white dude. Mr. White Penis validated her and her beauty. So you have all of this going on, and somehow black men are the worst of the worst of the worst. You let Themis tell it, you let the divestors tell it, you let any random black women tell it half the time. You let black LGBTQ tell it. There's something very sick and pernicious about black men and their supposed homophobia, transphobia, colorism, featureism, misogyny, aspirations of patriarchal order, etc., etc. Right? And Namus says, don't forget coconut milk dipped white women. Exactly. So what is the fight here? So people of color, women of color, just said, yeah, screw all of that. We're just trying to get down with the white system. We're just gonna go about it in a different way and couch it differently. And so people just won't see what the hell we're doing. We ain't fighting nothing. There ain't nothing to fight here. We just trying to get down with the white man. Have us some mixed babies and go sell out in the sunset in some white suburbs with our mixed children. And every once in a while, we'll just do a tacit little jab about white patriarchy. Meanwhile, our ideal man is some white liberal dude, or for some of the conservatives, white conservative dude, or maybe, just maybe, a man of color that comports himself exactly like that white guy. If you're expecting women to sound exactly like the men, for the most part, they won't. And so whatever they say that's heinous will just go above your head. You'll just miss it. Right? They're always going to couch it in victim talk. Well, I'm with the white guy because the men of my own race didn't appreciate my features. Yawn. So why didn't you end up with another man of color? Oops. What happened? So black women, um, um, South Asian men don't appreciate your features, but white men do. East Asian men don't appreciate your features, but white men do. South Asian women, black men don't appreciate your features. East Asian men don't appreciate your features, right? Middle Eastern men in America don't appreciate your features. Nobody else appreciate your features except for the white guy. Okay, yeah, that's it. Hmm. And we let Themis talk. Just saying, right? This is insanity. And you wonder why so many men are joining the manosphere. And this will bring me to my last point. Neighbor, what I'll do is tomorrow morning I'll open up a tomorrow morning I'll try to open up a stream, a live, and then I'll let people jump on, right? And my last what was that? My last goddamn name, I lost my train of thought messing with you. Um oh yeah. So BGS's stream about a certain Mr. Andrew Tate, right? In the black pill. And I'm messing with this thought, don't let nobody else steal it. Um, Messing with this thought of the cap on the market cap on misandry, right? And what happens when you reach the absolute critical mass in the market cap on misandrous rhetoric and language in critiquing men, particularly men of color, right? And like when you reach that, the critical, what happens to the men and the boys? When they either throw their hands up or they say, you can no longer shame me, and you know what? I'm going black pill, red pill at best, black pill at worst, right? And Namer says, I gotta break it down with some insight. I look forward to that. I'll try to do a stream tomorrow morning. I'm aiming for before 10 o'clock, right? So maybe 8 something or 9 something in the morning, right? So I'm aiming for before 10 o'clock. Oh, that's 10 o'clock my time, which would be Eastern Eastern time US, right? So and I think this is where Andrew Tate comes in. And like BJ said, he is the Joker. And so when you are a young black boy and you see the Themis of the world, at the best you get in the critique is FD signifier. That's the best you get. That's the best you get. And on the other end is Cynthia G, Real Talk with Yanni, Paris Malone, Chrissy, Kim from Fort Harriet, Khadijah, right? T Noir. That's the best. If you're a young man, particularly a young black man, and that is what is seen as being a modern man in society, is listening to these people critique your notions of manhood and masculinity, right? And low key insult it and jab at it and pretty much tell you, yeah, you can't be that nigga anyway. You don't got no money. Oops. Just like Themis pretty much said to FD. FD, if you want to know why I had an issue with what you were saying, Themis just showed you. Yeah, these men can't practice traditional relation. They can't have traditional relationships. They don't got enough money. Pretty much is what he was saying. So, in other words, like I said before, we're leaving that for pretty much rich white dudes. A couple of Asians here and there, one or two Latinos, one or two black people, a couple of Asians, but mainly upper middle class to rich and wealthy white dudes get to have traditional, air quotes, patriarchal relationships. And everybody else, particularly poor, working class, middle class black men, you got to be out here freestyling with the once upon a time queer black women or LGBTQ black women or trans folks, etc., etc. And then you want to know why black men with the means are doing passport bros and the ones without the means are trying to do SBM, which is pretty much anybody or anything but this. This is when you get the brothers, particularly the conservative brothers, talking about the communita. This is why. Shout out to Reese, wherever you are, brother. This is where you get Reese talking about Raccoon City. This is where you get that from. Because at best is FD and Khadijah. At best. And on the extreme is Cynthia G. And Lexus Exodus and Mahogany Pink. And on the intellectual end, you have Kim from Fort Harriet. This is impossible. This is impossible. So yeah, you could have Andrew Tate pop up. And remember, Andrew Tate's following is mainly non-black American dudes. White guys. Yeah, you could have Kevin pop up. Y'all reached the threshold of how much misandry and air quotes critiquing men could take. We're talking about straight heterosexual men. Why does Kevin have a large non-black following? Why does Andrew Tate have a large non-black following? And no, Kevin was on some black pill stuff, but why do these men have why does the white manosphere have such a following? First of all, men know that this ain't gonna work because heterosexual men are interacting with women every day. And they're listening to all of these people tell them, drop the patriarchy, drop the patriarchy, drop the patriarchy. And your sons are running into women that are doing foodie calls. And your sons are running into women talking about men on their level. Ooh, oopsie. Huh. And your sons are running into women throwing their education in your son's face. Huh. Meanwhile, you telling your sons to drop the patriarchy, remember? And your sons are running into women telling them how insecure men are about their education, and your son is like, I'm not that guy. None of my friends are that guy. Are you sure you're not just projecting? All the while, Themis, T Noir, Khadijah, all of these people, FD signifiers, drop the patriarchy, drop the patriarchy, drop the patriarchy. You can't afford it. You can't afford it. The women want it. Ooh, goddamn, Mr. Z. Huh. What about that part? Are you telling the women to drop the patriarchy and what it means? And very careful what it means to drop the patriarchy. Yet I mean you might not end up with the baller dude. Ooh, goddamn. Yet I mean that you might have to go 50-50 on these bills. Ooh, goddamn. That's when they jump off the train. Yeah, y'all don't want to talk about that part. Drop the patriarchy, right? All the chastising of men. Go tell the women to drop the patriarchy and see how well that conversation goes. And tell them what comes with it. Yeah, that might mean that you earn more than your male counterpart and you out educate him. Whoopsie. Huh. Drop the patriarchy, drop the patriarchy, drop the patriarchy. Y'all are coming off misogynistic, 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 misogyny all over the place. And everywhere these boys go are women talking a good game, but they not really about it. Like the video that I critiqued somewhat 9 months ago now, 8, 9 months ago now, with the white lady speaking about, we've done the work. Where's the men? Pretty much celebrating the fact that these men are like alone. They're lonely. Those are who men are running into. And you telling them to drop the patriarchy while women laugh at their suffering. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Drop the patriarchy. Drop the patriarchy. Misogyny. Misogyny. And then you got the queers talking about heteronormative this, heteronormative that. As if the most common pairing for men and women on planet Earth currently is heterosexuality, which would mean that it's more normal than anything else y'all talking about. I'm just saying. Sounds nice. So can we just finally admit that most of these women just want to be white women, and a lot of LGBTQ folks just want to be white women too? Oh, and something that Themis said. Ooh, let's talk about class. Let's talk about class. I'm actually going to end out on this point. This is the point I'm going to end out on. When we speak about women's education and their income and what they're doing, and we speak about hegemonic masculinity, what we're not factoring in is class. Y'all already know where Mr. C is going with this because I've said it before. And how rich white elite men use women as the buffer class because they're not scared of them between those rich white elite men at the top and all the working class men at the bottom. The lower middle class men, the working poor men. So when we speak about educated women, when we speak about women using and weaponizing the white supremacist system, when we speak about women supposedly providing for these men who turn around and have an issue with them, what we don't speak about is class. Because the women aren't actually trying to overthrow whatever the men at top got. They just chastising the men on the bottom. They talking crap to the men on the bottom. While they secretly, not so secretly, worship the men at the top, white men. While they do the bidding for the men at the top, white men. While they secretly covet the positions of the women on the top, white women. This is where Mr. Z takes a pause break and say this again. The internet will expose us all. It's not that the internet's really going to expose us, it's that we're going to expose ourselves on the internet. And you see it every day. Right? This is where feminism comes in. This is the part where Green Girl was speaking about it. What is the end of the nuclear family or the end of the family? And I keep on referring it to y'all because if you haven't watched it yet, it is pretty long. It's like 2 and some odd hours long. You gotta listen to Green Gorilla go over this. Like I said, capitalism chewing on your right butt cheek, feminism chewing on your left butt cheek. This is where feminism come in. This is where feminism comes in. And where it's positioned, many women, not all, right? Where it's positioned many women to essentially act as the buffer class between working class men and elite men. And all you got to do is show some women in some positions and let them be the fall women when things go left. Does that mean that they're not educated or talented? No, that doesn't mean that. What it does mean is they didn't have a larger societal critique of much of anything. They actually bought into their tokenism. They actually bought into their tokenism. They actually bought into a concept of meritocracy in the society. Yeah, you worked hard. Mr. Z is not going to say you didn't work hard, but are you where you are simply because you worked hard? Different conversation there, right? So when Themis speaks about these things and how great black women are doing academically and educationally and fastest growing businesses and all this other stuff, he didn't mention that part, but still, what is not spoken about is the class element and where black women have been positioned in this society in relationship to black men, at least rhetorically, and the optics, obviously. Themis, you're gonna have to convince the men. Yeah, I know you love having all them homegirls and y'all talk crap about men all day. Yeah, that sound nice. You're going to have to convince the straight men to eat this without an incentive. Have fun with that. Have fun trying to convince the men to eat this with no incentive. Your supposed egalitarianism, your supposed 50-50. When the first thing a heterosexual woman, particularly a black one, is going to do is throw in your face how it should have never been 50-50 in the first place. I gave this example before. I'll give it again to close out. White dude I worked with looked like a young Tom Hanks, white Brazilian cat, dating one of these punk rocker type white American women, having a conversation with me, and straight up said, Z, we got into a little argument. Remember, she's staying with him at his mom's house. His mom doesn't live there, she lives overseas, but the house is paid for, blah blah blah, or the house is being paid for by his mother and his stepfather. So the mortgage is out the way. That they don't got to worry about that. She's staying with him. She got to pay a couple bills. They get into an argument about the bill. She said, I shouldn't be paying these anyway. Y'all hear this? Everybody, and we all know it. Chris Rock made the joke years ago. All that egalitarian stuff, like I said in earlier, all the egalitarian talk sound nice until the Titanic starts to sink. Right? It all sound nice. It all sound nice until these bills got to get paid. It all sound nice until something go bump in the night. All that egalitarian talk sound real nice until then. So I'll truly pause right there. Y'all like, share, subscribe. You know, thank you for coming in. Yeah, like I said, all that sound nice. Um, like a Themis, um, it's possible he could be heterosexual or whatever bi, but he has to be one of the most feminine presenting heterosexual men like ever, particularly in the black community if he is heterosexual, and that's no slight to him. But from my understanding, he is rainbow flag, which would explain a whole lot because you don't have to live with the consequences of your theories. This is what I was saying to FD signifier. about the Khadijas of the world, the queers, the entire LGBT gamut. Um, I mean LGBTQ gamut is really like LGBTQIA, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. Now there's new letters every day. Excuse me, right? But that all of those theories sound nice until you have to engage with heterosexual women in real life, right? And this is the problem when LGBTQ, particularly queer people, start giving their theories about the way things should be and don't actually have to interact with the opposite sex and care what the opposite sex actually believes, regardless of what they say. And the problem is, queer folks listen to women, particularly black women, critique black men a particular way, but they never have to interact with those women to see what they really about. Right? All of those theories sound nice, right? And Mr. Z's not actually against. I'm not actually against egalitarianism. Whatever actually works, Mr. Z, whatever works. The problem is all that's talk until something goes bump in the night. Who got to go downstairs with the broom, or the gun, or the bat, or the knife? It doesn't even have to be that extreme. It could be just a dog, a loose dog running down the block. Who got to be the one to maybe take that bite? So, like I said, yeah, I'm a little late to the FD conversation with Themis, but for this for FD to critique, excuse me, for Themis to be chastising FD because he didn't air quotes push back enough, because he wanted FD to come in here on the fire brimstone, you Negroes ain't ish. Nah, bro, stop. And I'll truly pause right there. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Mr. Z's gonna try to open up a stream, like I said, um, somewhat not early morning, somewhere later in the morning, more 8ish, 9ish o'clock, something like that. Hopefully before 10, right? 10 o'clock. That's the goal at least. So from once again, remember that's my time. That's Eastern time, Eastern U.S. time. Um, so yeah, that's the goal. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I will pause right there. Like I said, and I have so much more. There's so many other. I just want to do mashups for the next week, really, just to talk about random stuff going on. Because there's so much going on. I want to do something more of systemic critique of what's going on economically in this society to kind of give my take. And remember, no college degree on this or anything like that, so it's just straight opinion, right? Marginally informed opinion at that. Mr. Z has no problem admitting that, by the way. Um, so yeah, this is crazy, and I see that FD put out a pretty damn long 2 hour plus stream. I mean, video. Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch that, maybe do a review on that. Also, yeah, it's just so much, right? And I'll truly end right there. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Mr. Z is gonna go make a drink or something, and much needed, right? And once again, thank y'all for being in here. Yeah, this is just crazy. By the way, to the Amanda young lady, no hard feelings. You're not gonna never come up across this either. But y'all, we really got to have a conversation about these women of color and their backdooring into worshiping white dudes. because that's what it comes off as to non-white men, right? Or men of color, right? So yeah. Anyway, I'll pause right there. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Go check out other Black Manosphere content and other non-Manosphere content, so y'all don't sound like Themis, because Themis apparently thinks like the Black Manosphere is just a bunch of dudes, rah rah rah, black women the worst thing in the world, rah 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 rah. Meanwhile, you have people like Mr. Z. I'm just saying, people like BGS, people like, Black Uru daughters and everything. I'm just, whatever. Okay, yeah, y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Mr. Z out.